There, your clock is working.
I'm just waiting for, Councilman Fairfield is acting. It's up. Okay. Good evening, I'll call this meeting to order at 6:02. Thank you, members of the public for coming in tonight. Glad to see people in attendance. I think always encourage attendance tonight. Thank you, Councilor, for being here. Thank you, staff. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Dylan Crabb and I'm. Councilwoman Questa.
Here.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez. We have for our mayor.
Councilman Arvio, only he is able to take. Next up, who is, let's call it release the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilor Collins. Former Councilor Collins.
Mayor, before we proceed, maybe we have a moment of silence for all the people in our community that have passed away. I think they're probably 6 by now, so I think it only appropriate that we recognize them.
Let's keep that in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for being on the president. Next item is approval of the agenda. Changes, additions, deletions.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second. I have a suggestion, to remove matters from the village attorney, if you guys have any questions.
Make motion to change of the reading matters from village attorney.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman, I have a second. Councilwoman Gonzalez, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Yes. Next item is approval of the minutes regular council meeting, July 23rd, 2024.
Mayor, I had one correction. The mayor probably used your order. He wasn't even here. That's a mistake. No problem. Motion to approve with correction.
Second. Motion by Councilman. Second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item is public comments. The public policy of the governing body to accept public comment because your issue is not on the agenda. The governing body does not take action immediately, but may direct staff to address issues of future council meeting. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Therefore, public comment. Let's step to the podium and just take your name for the record, please.
My name is Evelyn. Thank you. My name is Evelyn Hawkins, and I am a citizen of Village of Questa. I have a concern, and it kind of goes along with one of your discussion items today. I have a little bit of a concern, I guess you would say, as to the zoning of our village. It appears to me that, and I could be completely wrong, but it seems to me that on some issues, we follow the ordinance of 1974. On other issues, we fall under the Taos County. And I have read both, or rather tried to find both, as I don't have an MOU with that the county and the village has in effect. So I'm not aware if there's one. If there is one, I would like to see it. But from what I understand, the county has placed a very, very undue burden on our village. We have to have architect plans, we have to have a permit for every single little thing that this village does. If you want to change a window in your house, you have to have a permit. If you want to put a door, you have to have a permit. Now, who is getting this money for these permits? Does the village see any of it? Now, what kind of policy is that? Do we have an MOU? So how do we enforce this when a person from the county comes in and literally forces his way into a home and demands to inspect? That is unacceptable, council and mayor. He comes into a home with something on his hip and literally walks past a tent. How do we know that's not a gun? How do we know it may be a radio? But that is totally unacceptable in today's environment. Would you know it was not a gun? It was just strapped to a hip? No. So I am very concerned that we are following something from the county that is placing a totally unacceptable burden on our people. I do not expect to have to go for a permit to put a window in my house. So I really would urge the staff, the mayor, and the council to look into this. Have we actually read the policy for the county that tells us what we have to do? Have we read it? Or are we just letting them blindly come into our community and tell us what to do? It's totally unacceptable. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to have it impeached.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this. Anyone else for public comment? Staff, can we pause for public comment this week? Opposed, public comment 609. Next item is public hearing. Various request Alvin and Teresa. Alvin, did I say that? Gilba.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mr. Alvin and Ms. Teresa Gilbo are requesting a variance to place a 24 by 38 structure on their property located at 1 Evergreen Road. I believe you have a map in your packet. Their property is approximately 0.770 of an acre, which does not meet the R1 1 acre minimum requirement per the Village of Questa zoning ordinance. Therefore, a variance is being requested from the governing body. I would like to introduce who will be speaking. Alvin, will you be speaking?
I'm sorry, I'm hard to hear.
Okay, will you be speaking?
Yes.
Okay, this is Mr. Gilbo, and if you have any questions for either one of us, we're happy to stand for questions. I think in your packet you have a copy of the public hearing notice that was published in the paper, and also a copy of the map that shows the property where the structure is going to be placed.
Mayor, I had a question. Either Jake or Mr. Alvin. So I'm going to assume that the county came in and shut you down on that addition that was getting put on the building, or no?
He was asking if the county came and red tagged you when you got
Yes. Right, yes. And that was back in December. It's taking me this long. I didn't know I had to get a letter from Questa. So I got all of it. I had to get an architect, draw the plan, which I'd already just about had, another $1,500. And then I take everything up there and they say, oh, you got to have a letter from Questa. I mean, I think we ought to know this kind of stuff. I didn't know we needed a letter from Questa. I moved here a couple of years ago. And so anyway, it's taken me 8 months now to try to get a garage built. And it's still halfway finished.
Is this the old bank?
So you purchased that from Chuck, right?
Chuck Lewis.
Yes, bought it from Chuck. Well, no, he didn't own it.
Oh,
He had lost it to somebody else on
Kobe,
Kobe's.
Kobe Gaddy,
Yeah.
Mr. Kobe Gaddy.
So you're just to be clear, you're building a carport or is it an addition?
Are you building the carport?
Enclosed garage, 2-car garage,
Two-car garage?
yeah.
So is it an addition or is it it's not a separate,
No, it's attached.
it's attached?
Yeah,
So I guess my question, and I wish Chris will get on to my point. He's not asking to build a separate building, he's just adding onto his house, and then,
I think the reason that the county got involved is that would be considered major renovation. And for major renovations, all permitting requirements per the county apply. Not necessarily the village, but the county permitting requirements apply.
but on the variance, I guess, we're asking for a variance, he's not adding an extra.
He's adding on to his property basically.
so I don't have to get out of the snow, and keep going in the garage and go down. But, you know, it is kind of ridiculous, so I mean, I have in the front, I have a window. I wanted to take the window out and put a door. I have to have a permit for that.
Well, because I know that, just that, all of that stuff is after our so the addition, the variance is, just so I understand, is authorized to add an extra building.
So because they're making a change to their existing structure, the variance is going to apply because it's less than an acre. So, and the county's requiring a letter of approval from the village in order for him to proceed with his permit. So in order for me to draft the letter of approval, we got to make sure that the variance is passed by the governing body because of the 1 acre minimum requirement.
Anyone have any other questions?
Was there anything else on that?
Yeah, that's, so I'm going to open up the public hearing at 6:14. Anyone here for the public hearing? Or have comments?
I have a comment. Again. Dylan Crabb. And again, it's the variance is from the village. It's from the county. Where do we separate them? What, you know, how do we know when we go to the village, when we go to the county? There's nothing in writing to say, this is the procedure you follow. I'm off the procedure, don't get me wrong. I just want to know where it's at.
So,
Put it in writing for me so I can, Jake and hand me a piece of paper saying, this is what you do. It's very, very confusing. And I am sure Mr. Kelly is as confused as I am. More so because I live here, he has it.
we're going to doing our zoning ordinance, which was like here, like, written in 1974, which was 50 years ago. We're going to redo that zoning ordinance here in the near future. After that, since the village doesn't have building code adopted, we'll have to adopt a building code and get somebody to do the inspections like Taos County does right now. And I'm sure what happened in the past is they just the lack of personnel, having somebody on staff that could go out and do all these building inspections, the permit inspections.
Like,
That's probably what necessitated.
Mayor, before we do something like that, I think we need to do something to lessen the undue burden we're placing on the citizens of Questa. You know, we're doing a survey to show that we are not a affluent community. So on one hand, we're not affluent, and we want to show that we all are below 62,000 a year average, the mean income. But yet we have no problem having a person pay $1,500 for a quick survey.
The problem with Ms. Calkins is that we could adopt our own building code, but Taos County then doesn't enforce it right now. We don't have the means to enforce it. So that's why Taos County has to come in and enforce their own building code. So I get what you're saying, it would be like us As an example, we have our own animal control ordinance, but Taos County won't come and enforce our animal control ordinance. We have to have our own guys enforce
Well,
our.
of course they're gonna come and enforce their zoning ordinance. They're getting the money.
And that's understood, but that's why I say we're gonna fix all that, and then,
Well, I'm saying, Mayor, we really do need to,
yeah,
we
we're
really
gonna
do
fix all
need
that.
to look at, because it is an undue burden on our citizens.
And like I said, we'll have to adopt our own building code, which then regulates all that kind of stuff. Our zoning will kind of regulate what we're talking about tonight. When it comes to, adding onto your house or putting windows in our building code, then dictate how that is done, and also dictate the permitting, because if we're gonna take that on, then, of course, we're gonna want to collect those fees that Taos County is maybe not as much, but just to go back a little bit, Taos County is doing their own comprehensive plan. We had a meeting about 3 months ago at the senior center, which there was maybe 5 or 6 of us that actually attended. It was supposed to be. That's being done through Taos County Building and Planning and Zoning, and I did mention to them that they need to change the building codes for this. Same thing that you just said there. Most of our locals can't afford to upgrade to what their requirement. So, that it is a problem. We understand it's a problem, but we are working on it. It's not like we're ignoring it, or we're gonna get that planning and zoning ordinance updated, then we can adopt building code, and then from there, it's all in-house. We don't have to rely on Taos County's,
Thank you, Mayor.
Taos County's representative, or Taos County's code enforcement to come do that for us. That's the plan.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'd just like to say, I moved here from Texas about 2 years ago. I built 3 houses in Texas. I didn't fill out as much paperwork as they want me to fill out to change the window to a door. And they gave me a stack of paper that big, just to fill out, just to take a window out, put a door in. And it's, I mean, I don't like to complain, it's kind of ridiculous what's going on.
I can agree with you. I think there's no this council that doesn't agree with you. I see we're working on it. Something that fell into our laps, the ordinance that was put in place 50 years ago and it's never updated. And I'm not trying to mock any of the previous administrations or anything like that. I just think that it was due to the act of having the finances to support having the zoning person and that code inspector. We've always had to rely on Taos County, and thankfully that they've done it for us. But like I said, I don't agree with all of what they've written into their building code. So we can work on our.
Well, a lot of it just doesn't apply to a smaller community than what they've got.
I agree.
Mayor, what I might add to the constituents of Questa is there are 3 highlights within the village limits that Taos County kind of gets involved in. One is new construction. The second is renovation, and like what's happening in Mr. Gilbo. Doors, windows, all that kind of stuff is considered renovation. That requires a permit from the county. And the third highlight is placing manufactured homes or mobile homes on property. Those are the 3 high hits I see that impact the constituents here in the village.
I know my brother had told me he was trying to build a corral, and they told him he had to hire that architecture and that plan. This was 5 6 years.
Yeah, even to add a deck to the front of your house, you have to have a lot of permitting done.
Anyone else for public comment? And this is the longest public comment session we've had on any of these villages. I'll close public comment at 6:20.
Then we make the decision.
Or public hearing, I'm sorry, I'll close. 6:20. So we'll move on to action item. Action item A is, by the way, let the record show that Councilman Jaramillo is in attendance. Action item A is discussion, consideration, decision, variance request, Alvin and Teresa Gilbon.
Motion to approve the variance request for Alvin and Teresa Gilbo. Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Nogales, second by Councilwoman Baez. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Carpino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Luis Gallego,
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rita Gonzalez.
Yes.
Next item is discussion, consideration, decision 2024 annual conference room delegate, Judge Michael, that's for the next one, starts tomorrow.
You said it here. Since none of us are attending the annual conference, Judge Ray is the only one in attendance. So, they're requesting us that we be voting delegate at the conference this year. Who starts speaking? Tomorrow? Yes, okay.
Motion to approve, Governor Alves, recommended.
Motion by Councilman Mahoney, second by Councilwoman Nogales. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Carpino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Luis Gallego,
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rita Gonzalez.
Yes.
This, we need to approve it, we want to have a whole there. Next item is discussion, consideration, decision, acceptance of DFA fire grant. Ms. Shannon.
Mayor and council, I'm here to represent Chief Raynell Sanchez Cordova. She is still at the fire on the ambulance. Last week we heard she was on her way back on Wednesday, so she's been there a little bit already. But she did apply and get this grant for $393,750. And it is to hire fire and EMS personnel. The first year, the allocation is 100%, the second year is 50%, and the third year is 25%. This runs along with the law enforcement retention fund grant that we received. It kind of runs the same way. So they give you the money to help you get these people in place, and then eventually you have to come up with the money to continue paying them for as staff. Her goal is to use the GRT money that comes from the county for fire and EMS to pay for these positions. And I don't know all of what her thoughts were on this, as far as longevity, but if you have more questions, that we can have her here at the next council meeting to answer.
Given vacancies currently, sorry,
So right now, we do not have any paid fire department. As far as EMS, she is continually looking for staff. We just lost 2 people that were EMTs, and she's continually looking for EMTs so that she can have 2 EMTs on a call instead of just 1 EMT and 1 driver, which we call an EO. So, we don't necessarily have vacancies, but she's always looking for staff to fill in those positions. Many of the EMS staff does work elsewhere, and they fill in here and in Red River or Taos, wherever they work. We have people coming as far as Albuquerque to come and fill in 1 shift a week or every other week. She's trying to have the shifts are at least 8-12 hours. Sometimes they are 24 hours or 36 hours.
This may be a question for you, Ms. Shannon, or you, Mayor, but I know most of the EMS, they're all mutually a part of the fire department. What exactly does that mean for the village if we go from a volunteer fire department to them being paid? What will change?
There's no way that we can afford a 24/7 fire department. There's no way that this will just be, what she's envisioning here is that this will allow for 2 firefighters to cover from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, because most of the volunteers are be a volunteer fire department from 5 p.m. to 8 in the morning every night and 24/7 on the weekends, 24 hours. There's
And then we prepared for what might happen if, say, there's only 2 positions that are gonna be paid with the fire department, what will that do to the volunteers' morale?
I don't know if she has thought that through or not. She has not discussed this too much with me.
Mayor, also thinking about this, when these 3 years are up, Ms. Shannon, do you think that we can sustain this as a village?
We
Or,
have,
I'm sure she'll be looking for more funding to come in and help support it. I mean, it's a good start, I think.
it depends on what she's gonna consider for her salaries for these positions. We're not gonna be able to pay what big municipalities are paying for their fire personnel. And then benefits. If they're full-time people, they have to have medical, dental, vision, life insurance, all of those things. So, one position could be $100,000 or more, probably more per year. So we really have to sit down with her, and she's hoping that the GRT will be able to cover those positions. She also has to think about when they go on vacation or when they take sick leave, who's gonna cover those other shifts for those people. So she almost needs to have 3 people. And she'll have to work out some kind of a schedule.
But this specific grant is mostly for EMS and not fire at this time, is that correct?
It's for fire and EMS, and she's intending to use it for fire.
That's what I think. And Ms. Shannon, when do we need to submit the acceptance to this grant?
There was no deadline to turn it in as far as I know. It just came into my desk, so I thought I would bring it. We can table it for now and then bring it for discussion next time and maybe approval, and when she's here to answer those questions. And I can give her a heads up on what she's asking, so she can be informed.
Make motions to table it until we can get more information.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, the second by Councilwoman Gonzalez, to table non-emergency. But any discussion?
Mayor, just, maybe we get a presentation from Ms. Sanchez prior to making a decision on this, because there's questions that need to be answered, especially with, full-time, how much they're gonna get paid, everything that Ms. Shannon just brought up. So,
Any other discussion? I think, Council, number one, that decision is really, and she has a time, she can present to us, but the decision really sits up here, how we budget that money, but I do think it's important that we do accept this grant. We've already
Yeah.
have a motion to table tonight, which is, I'm okay with this. We're in on 27 to talk about that, but I also don't think we want to turn this money away. So we can, as a council, work with this Sanchez, Cordova, and figure out how to best spend this money. How much is Shannon is coming in from that county GRT that we get monthly or annually? Do you have a clear number on it? I know we have about a full year of it now.
I can look it up.
Plus, they do have a building with the ambulance that I think is going.
Well,
Maybe she can give us a report on the building as well.
the other thing that we could talk about too, is we should also make fire. Because there is a value to them being there 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, for the fact that we're talking about permitting. Now we can adopt fire code and they can go and permit a lot of our buildings, they can go inspect a lot of our businesses and buildings, and some of that will come with a little bit of a permitting cost that will help some of that stuff. Pre-plans are important. Pre-plans going into the buildings, see what's in there, see what chemicals they have, seeing how many emergency exits they have. They can do a lot of hydrant testing that we don't do. They can do a lot of
work that's not getting done right now.
But we just need to make sure that we can sustain that. You all have valid concerns and I think it's crucial that we can sustain it past these 3 years, even past the first year, since 100% the first year, 75 I'm thinking that, let's see what Ms. Shannon comes up with for that. That would be the commitment that we would have to make up here is if we want that GRT to go straight to fire and not EMS. And we can be sure that we feel comfortable that EMS is 100% funded as well. I think the EMS budget has been pretty safe with the fires that they go through and some of the other stuff that they're doing.
So this year, we received $265,222.91. But she split that, half to fire and half to EMS. So that's about $133,000 for each.
So 260,000, that would sustain 2 employees at that fire department.
Depending on the salary of the staff. It depends how much, how much hourly she's gonna pay them. If it's minimum wage, probably yes. If it's not minimum wage, it's gonna, and probably not, because they have to be trained as the firefighters and things. It could go quite a way up.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like as far as what we pay EMT intermediate, let's say we pay 2, like what's the salary of our 2 full-time, and that, we can discuss this later. If we think about our 2 highest paid EMTs of EMS, because what I would like to see out of this is that if we have 2 paid firefighters, they do have at least a basic EMT license. That way, if she does run short on coverage here at the EMS building, she can use these firefighters as well for, they can be cross-utilized.
I can give you a total right here, just a second.
And I know we're taking a little time on this, we have a motion in the second, but for already, now that we're in discussion.
So we have an EMT intermediate, full-time, it's about $82,000, and they do not have insurance.
So, okay, just think about that. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, will you please call roll on the motion to table this?
Councilman Dylan Crabb.
Yes.
Councilwoman Luis Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilman Jason Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
Next item is discussion, consideration, decision, record destruction, permission to destroy records.
Mayor and council, in your packet is a list of records for fiscal year 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and some 2019. 60 boxes of financial records that are eligible to go to destruction. I did go through the Connex box and went through all the boxes and put these 60 boxes in the smaller Connex box, that's where we pull them from and we're gonna destroy them. I will have more in the near future, but for right now, these are the ones that I could, request that you approve for destruction. We do have a shredder company that comes to pick them up. We will wait until we fully, fill up that smaller Connex box. It's split up into thirds, and I have 2/3 of it filled up with these 60 boxes, so I think I can squeeze 30 more boxes in there before they come. And this is one of the projects that was started in the previous administration. We got rid of a bunch of stuff. Now we find that we have even more things to go through and trying to catch up with all of our records retention.
Motion to approve the destruction of the records.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Gonzalez, second by Councilwoman Gallegos. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Cunningham,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scarpa,
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Shannon Gonzalez.
Yes.
Next item is presentation. Ms. Shannon.
Mayor and council, I am very happy to introduce our new finance clerk. This is Faith Algren. I'm still learning her name. She just got married, so that's her married name. But she has just she started last Tuesday. She's picked up the daily audit just amazingly. She picked up invoicing for accounts payable incredibly. Last week, she processed 30 checks through accounts payable. Next week, she's gonna tackle payroll. And we've already started today with audit for fiscal year 24. So I plan to teach her everything that I know that I've done the last 10 years so that she can pick it up hopefully when I retire.
Which won't be anytime soon, right?
Not too soon.
Yeah, hi, I'm Faith Almer. I moved here recently. I just got married. My husband lived here, so I moved here. I'm from Angel Fire in the West. So previously I was a finance manager for the dental office in Angel Fire. I have an MBA and a bachelor's in business.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Next item is a presentation from Ms. Maria Gonzalez. Viva la Rocket Coalition.
I don't have anything real formal for you guys, I just wanted to talk with you all. So thank you for having me, Mayor and Council, this evening. This is something that has been in the works for a couple of years now, more recently in the past year. We've been discussing trying to bring back an after-school program for the community of Questa and really requesting your support in being able to house that after-school program at the youth center. Karen, Mayor, myself, the superintendent, and Sierra from Questa Creative Council, and the volunteer. So we talked about, we sat and discussed like what that might look like probably over a year ago already. And of course, you know, there's bumps in the road that happen along the way. And of course, my capacity, as you all know, is very limited. So I haven't had a lot of opportunity to put a lot of work into this. But as we've moved through the processes, we are ready. We're ready to go. And we're hoping that we'd be able to get in there at least by the middle of September. And start rolling with this new school year of being able to provide after school support for our families in our community. The way it'll work is we're looking at having the students drop off, have a bus stop at the youth center. It'll probably be at the road. We have a staff person out there waiting for the kids to come in, kind of similarly to the way I did it when around Boys and Girls Club. Superintendent has already worked that bus route out and has a designated driver to get the kids from after school to the after school program. So we would go from after school till about 6 o'clock. And the way it would work is they get there, the kids get there, they have a small snack, and then go straight into homework, help, homework assistance, homework tutoring. The district is asking us to provide a literacy and a math component to it in collaboration with them. They're willing to train whoever staff we have and also bring staff from the district to help support these components as well. It's called a near peer tutor coordinator that they're hiring on, and I'm not too sure if you all are familiar, but the kids from the high school the juniors, sophomores, juniors, and seniors do tutoring where they normally offered to have some of those students come to the after-school program as well. And this coordinator would be in charge of helping supervise and make sure that that they're doing their job and making sure that the kids are, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that would be paid by the district. So that kind of alleviates some burden off of our program and what we do. What we're doing. We don't have the funding yet that's coming through, but I was very fortunate that the Turner Foundation and the National Recreation, I always butcher their name, their foundation have actually come forward and had a meeting with them. They were excited about our vision and what we were doing, and they are willing to fund our after-school program for a full year with staffing. It's hard to get grants to get operational budget, so this is really a blessing for them to just say, yes, we want to do it, and willing to fund it. Their fall cycle starts now, and we typically won't get funded until probably January, but work that we can cover with the staff that VITA has to get it going and off the ground. So we'll be good at that. Collaborations with community partners like the Questa Creative Council. Sierra is the woman that does the pottery. I can't remember her name, but she has offered to actually do a class like once a week, once a month, however we want to plan that out with the kids that go through the after school program. And it'll all be a learning component with that as well, where the kids will learn where play comes from, how it's made, from start to finish, scratch to finish. So all the after school components are going to be educational based, so that the kids are continually learning, incorporating culture, how we work with things, how we bring in different areas and different elements in that way. Anywhere from agriculture, farming, Daniel with Oncology has offered to help support in that way as well. And then with the Questa Creative Council, I get excited about this because Mary Jo Kelly wants to actually do actual paintings, painted paintings with the kids, and we figured we'd start out with right behind the youth center and get them started there, but also with some field trips to maybe Eagle Rock Lake or some other really cool scenic. So that's kind of the broader scope of what our plan is and how we want to move forward with the after-school program. And then we can't forget about our older kids and our teenagers. And so we do want to incorporate some teen nights, some workshops, and some groups as well with that. So I've hired Magdalena Miera. I don't know if you all are familiar with who she is. She's amazing. She hit the ground running and is already calling me with a bunch of questions, but has already started like a whole bunch of stuff within this. And so she had a group, a girls group that she was doing with the middle school and high school. I don't know but she was doing that. She wants to bring that back as soon as possible. So as soon as we can, she was ready to start it this week at the VITA office. And I was like, hold on. Pumping her brakes. But she already has kids reaching out to her and wanting to get that going. So she's going to be a big asset to have on board with these types of things. She's also planning, this is kind of another side note, but we're planning on doing a girls empowerment summit in Taos at the Safe Push in October. And we're inviting Questa High School, all the surrounding high schools, including, we're going to go as far as San Luis, but also like all within the district, in kind of like the sports district is what she's thinking of inviting, so that we would have a big summit, empowerment summit for young women with, of course, a substance use, reduction type of component with it as well as part of the vision. And so she's currently working on that, so that's part of another piece that we're working on to really, and I'm not there's a Watkins curriculum, which is kind of the prevention piece and why it would be that we can support this after-school program. We've been trained in Watkins, and so with the after-school program, we'll also be teaching grades 3rd through 5th, that life skills curriculum, and it goes along with like coping techniques and also learning how to cook and clean and all those other fun things. So they'll be getting a lot of skills with the program. I'm requiring a parental commitment because we don't have a lot of parental involvement with the school or in our coalition as well. And I think it's fair to say that if we're going to be offering a free service, that parents should at least attend at least one workshop that we're offering once a month so that they're getting some type of educational value added, and they can also network and engage with one another as a parent or families, because we know that there's a lot of guardians that are grandparents or aunties or uncles that are raising other kids too, and collaborating with CYFD to really find those at-risk families and youth so that we can really start targeting those individuals and making our community a healthier community.
I wanted to add something. Village of Questa applied for a grant to help furnish the youth center, and our foundation granted us a little over $9,000, and we were able to completely furnish the entire youth center, from toddler, or not toddler, but like Alta Vista age, like first, second grade, all the way up to high school. So we were able to get tables, chairs, easels, bookshelves. One of the visions was to have like a little reading area, like a little reading corner, just to kind of help part of the ELA program through the middle school. I haven't taught high school, but for the middle school, they have to read like a certain amount of books to earn points in the ELA, and it's actually 90% of their ELA grade. And I can speak for my kid, she hates reading, but when she's like in a great, like when she's in a living environment, where there's cool neon signs and stuff, she sits down and she chills out and she reads. And so that was kind of the vision that we took to put it into the youth center to maybe help these kids get their reading done. I was speaking to people at the high school, and they were saying just that a lot of kids go home and they either don't do their homework or they don't have the means to do their homework and they don't get them done, and that's kind of when they see a decline in grades. And one of our goals and aspirations is to be able to provide a space for kids to go after school, get their reading done, get their homework done with support. Because sometimes they bring home homework and I don't even understand it, and it's frustrating for the parents, they get home tired. So at that point, everybody's yelling and screaming, and so we want to provide a support system for these kids to get them these things done, and then they're able to go home and their homework's done, they get to turn it in, they have a safe space to do it, and people can understand their homework and understand what they're doing. And so that was kind of one of the goals when I talked to Maria and Sierra. So if, like Maria said, she hopes to get your support, but we were able to get a lot of good furnishings for the youth center. It is a vacant building right now. It is being used by groups during the day and on the weekends, but for the most part, it would be a thriving community space for a couple hours after school. The middle school, their sports are incorporated into their activity, so they don't actually have time to do their homework at school. And it's right around that time when they're trying to figure out their life, changing classes and stuff, so we thought that was a good for them. So that's on the building side. So, will the capacity at the youth center determine the capacity for the kiddos in the after-school program?
Yeah.
And is it, how will the kiddos, is it application-based or a first-come, first-served?
We can do application-based, but, so, I mean, we probably should do application-based because we want to have waivers and, insurance and all of that stuff. We don't do it like that. we had 60 kids enroll in our summer camp this year, and we had 40 participate daily. And little over half of those kids were local Questa kids, which was my goal this year because we had really been servicing outside of our community, and we were able to pull back our local kids back into that summer camp. So this was our largest summer camp so far with enrollments, and the participation with about 40 kids, between 32 and 40 kids every single day was a big success, and the kids loved it. And Jackie, she's a teacher at Recent Means. She was our camp director this year, and she did an amazing job. She was very well organized. She had the kids good, so she did a great job. And I hope to find funding to pay her a little bit more to bring her back next year because she did such a good job. And so I'm anticipating, I think post-COVID, people are ready to be engaged in community activities like this. I think that's similar as to what we saw this summer, because we have gradually started to see an uptrend in that summer camp, but now I think it's full on. People are ready to be integrated back into those types of group settings and allow their kids to be there too. So I'm anticipating that we will have a lot. I was how Jason I ran Boys and Girls Club. I have about 75 kids enrolled. I never saw that many. It was 18, 20, 25, 32. One day 63 showed up. And I was like, what the heck? Why are they all here? And Jennifer Sanchez and Jacqueline Arellano looked at me and these big eyes, they were like, what do we do? And I said, divide and conquer. And that's what we did. We split the kids up and we were able to manage them by doing that. But I would hope that we would get that word of mouth and that the kids would be excited to be a part of the after-school program. And I know the school district has been trying to do after-school programming, but I think they're not getting very many big numbers. And I think the problem is that kids don't want to stay in school, they want to be outside of school, and I think giving them that different environment would be beneficial for that space.
Councilwoman Reyes.
Ms. Gonzalez, thank you so much for your presentation. There is no doubt that we do need an after-school program. We just needed somebody to step up in what you're doing and suggesting and collaborating with all these different organizations. So I applaud you and I admire you for bringing it back to the table and finding a way to open up that center again. It is very, very much needed. So, thank you.
I think about to be much fuller.
All of our plates are pretty full.
Any other questions for Ms. Gonzalez?
Mayor, I don't have a question. I got a comment that a lot of the constituents of Questa have said, why is that youth center open? I said, well, you need an organization to come in here, just the way Boys and Girls Club did, and take the time to spend some time, some money, and to engage and invest in Questa. Vida Norte has been here for some time now, and I'm glad that they're willing to go in there and fill this space. As it is a youth center, we need kids in there, we're going to be a youth center.
I'm just glad, Ms. Gonzalez, that this collaboration has happened. I know I've been on Isla del Norte member since 2017, 2016, going on 7 or 8 years now. And I remember a time not so long back where we couldn't even talk to the schools, they wouldn't even allow us. And now we're able to collaborate with them and do Isla del Norte and the village. I think the next step that we need to do is to come up with an MOU between the village and the Villa Norte about saying that we're going to allow this, and we can do that by next meeting with Shannon, get that together, if you're okay with that way, yeah. the mid-September, there's no hold back on our part. And of course, that will have to be voted on, but we'll just have to wait till next meeting to do that. We'll get that done. Hopefully.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Next item is presentation, Ms. Vigil and Mr. Napolet. That's what project status. Oh,
Mayor and Council, this evening we wanted to provide a brief high-hit update on some of the projects that are going on within the village and where they are, what the status is, and that sort of thing. We haven't had that sort of a update in a while, so we thought that we would just enlighten you with some new information. I'm going to touch on just the projects and tell you where they're at, and then if you have any questions, we'll be happy to address those questions at that time. We have Cabresto paving on Phase 2 and Phase 3. As you know, Phase 3 is a fully funded project, meaning that the planning design is already complete, as well as we have money for construction costs, meaning pave. And that section is from basically the visitor center off of Highway 38 all the way up to Cisneros Road, which is the road that goes up to the parish center. Phase 2, we have plan and design completed, and we're just waiting on a contractor to finish up in a neighboring community, and then he's promised to get boots on the ground here to start the culverts and drainage on Cabresto Phases 2 and 3. We were hoping or anticipating that this would have happened earlier, but they've been pushed back on the project in the neighboring municipality, so it hasn't happened yet. We've been told that they expect to be here mid-September. So pave for Phase 2 and Phase 3 will not happen this year. It'll be a spring of next year project. But we'd like to get the culverts and drainage for Phases 2 and 3 in before fall sets in or winter sets in.
Yeah, because the rest of the roads getting completed, especially the V, those two roads, and I don't think those are part of the,
No.
but we need to look at those.
We can certainly look at adding those, the V's or the
Yeah.
auxiliary roads up to Cabresto Road in the next funding source applications.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So are there any questions on Cabresto Phase 2 or 3?
No, sir.
Valerie and I will be attending a Zoom call with the Water Trust Board tomorrow to talk about the upcoming funding for the construction of the well. So we don't really have any updates to provide. It's all going in the process, the funding process. We were awarded $1.8 million to construct the well. So again, we're just going through all the paperwork, the steps to get that funding released to the village. And plan and design is complete for the Questa well and for the Questa well house. Valerie just submitted our notice of interest for funding for the construction for the well. So we're hoping, the well house. So we're hoping to see that go through the process as well.
Can I add to that? The other part that we found out in the last week or two is that Senator Heinrich submitted some congressional direct spending for $1 million for the well house for us.
Oh, wow.
He submitted it to appropriations now. That we're not guaranteed to get that money. Congress has to approve the budget. That can usually take
Yeah.
6 months, but hopefully when it comes through appropriation, we'll put that money forward for us and we'll get that done.
That's great.
That's thank you.
The next project would be the sewer or wastewater expansion project, which is basically the addition of a clarifier pond, maybe the expansion of the drying beds, and that sort of thing. Our engineers have submitted their PER and environmental documentation to USDA for their review. He submitted that to them, I would say, almost about a month ago, and they barely got back to him last week with their comments. So now he has to go through the process of addressing their comments and all that sort of thing, and then resubmitting it to them for their review again. But the good news is that we were awarded through capital outlay this year $230,000, which will cover the plan and design for this sewer plant expansion, or the replacement of this SCADA system, the antiquated SCADA system. The governing body will probably have to decide, correct, on which would be the ideal way to go. We want to fund the plan and design, and then there'll be a little bit of money left over to apply toward a SCADA replacement, or do we want to go with the entire SCADA replacement and then look for more plan and design money?
I thought we had money for the SCADA replacement.
We have the church money in
For repair.
They just kind of put a Band-Aid on it.
Oh, okay.
I can just add to that a little bit, our USDA, the local municipal had $6 million for the yard, because the PER wasn't done on, wasn't done in time for their application. We don't qualify for that, but we do qualify for eligible for federal funding. It'll just be more competitive to get that funding. But this is looking like it's going to be a $6 to $7 million project. But it will provide for a need for in the future to provide wastewater treatment for wastewater treatment facility. Just at capacity right now.
Just to give you a little update on the Red River Restoration Project, it is in the monitoring phase right now. So the monitors is Pathfinder LLC, and they will be out here to do their second year of monitoring this week, the week of August 12th. I anticipate them probably dinging us on the maintenance of the trails or access points to those fishing habitats. They're kind of overgrown with shrubs, weeds, and that sort of thing. So we'll see what they say in their report. So right now we don't have the report yet, so I'll let you know when that comes in. And then I'll let Valerie jump in here on some of the other projects.
Okay, so we have a lot of road projects going on right now. So Shirley Drive is one of them. We had some money, but it was for construction only, so we finally got some funding to do plan and design. As of July 2024, the plan and design has been 65% received. And according to them, they're not going to have any issues meeting the grant expiration date. We do need to expend the construction money by the end of this year. So we're really trying to move things forward to try and get that road repaired. The MA5, the guy that we work with, Jonathan Pena, he has been out on vacation, so we will be having an update with him next week to kind of see where we're at and see how we can keep the ball rolling so we don't have to have an extension of that money, or if we do, how we best go about it. The bridge, which is over there, we call it Walmart Bridge, that one has been rolling great. We do have weekly updates from them, so that's great. As of July 2024, the pedestrian bridge feasibility report has been complete, and the plan of design was about 30% complete by the end of July. They do state that it will be 65% done by the end of November, so we're hoping that this will be a springish, summerish project for next year. It is a fully funded project. Other than the replacement of the bridge, we are also adding a pedestrian walkway on the side, since there is that RV park and I was told by many people that they used to walk down there and fish and stuff, so people are pretty happy about that.
And that pedestrian bridge design is complete, and they do have a recommended plan and design for that.
There was a lot of reports that needed to be done with this, that's why it took a little bit longer than most of them, I suppose.
Councilor Gonzalez, question.
Mr. Hill, so the pedestrian bridge to be separated from the main bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought they were gonna be.
It will be a standalone,
Yeah.
bridge
Oh, nice.
Okay.
next to it.
Yeah.
It kind of goes along with the regular restoration.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Lower Embargo Road, which is the road that runs up to the bridge. We're looking for, construction money for that. Plan and design money we do have. As of July, end of July, plan and design for Lower Embargo Road was at 65%. So next week when we meet with Jonathan Pena, we will have a discussion, and we're hoping to get that at 95% complete to present to NMDOT, probably by the end of August. That's my hope.
Good job.
Embargo Road, again, we have money for plan and design. That plan and design came in at the end of July, 65% complete. Again, that's going to be one of the discussion items with Jonathan Pena to see when we can get it at 95, and then that will be a shovel-ready project. As of today, we still haven't received any notification from NMDOT as far as the TPF funding that we applied for through NPR TPO, or it was an NPR TPO recommended project. So NMDOT is still doing their thing. It's in their hands. So we haven't had any information as far as if we're being awarded or not.
I do want to say when the rankings came out, that's more like an internal thing. We were ranked second and third for recommendation, so.
Mr. LaFred?
Yeah.
An individual that lived on that road stated that there was a bunch of markings on the road. Is that part of the spec set, or?
A bunch of markings on
The
it?
markings on the road, like where they're locating culvert spots possibly, or?
I know that I was out with Mr. Pena and with John Rial, our public works supervisor, and they did mark some meter boxes, hydrants, culverts, that sort of thing. I don't know if those are the markings you're talking about.
I didn't know either. I didn't go see him, but he was just asking me, and I was like, I'll find out for you.
Yeah, it could also be the engineers surveyors that came out and redid it because they have to do aerials and all that. So perhaps, I'm not really sure. As you probably know, there was a road collapse on Embargo Road, just off of 522, just past the north central pantry, maybe an eighth of a mile on the left-hand side. We have contacted some contractors to see if they could come and start the repair work there. It's going to have to involve a gable, which is a riprap wall to support, backfill with some course, base course, all that sort of thing. Make it a stable structure so then pave can be redone and all that sort of thing. We did get plan and design done on that already. So we asked for some invitations, or we sent out an invitation to bid for a few contractors today. They picked them up today. So that's something that needs to happen pretty quickly. So if anybody asks you what those orange barrels are, that's what that is. That one.
So, next one is Town Bakes. Things have been progressing fairly okay. When they were doing their locates and their digging, they ended up finding a non-marked gas line. So we had to get the gas company out here, and we had to have a meeting, and we had to figure out what we were going to do with this gas line. And so the overall decision is we were able to relocate the gas line, or we're going to relocate the gas line. It didn't really affect the plans too much. I mean, there's some minor changes that need to be made. Obviously now, we have to, it pushed the project back a couple weeks, a few weeks, we had to wait for the gas people facility build is the one that's doing the expansion, so they had to come down. We met with them last Thursday, I believe, on Wednesday. I wasn't able to go, we were a little short-staffed here, but Jake went, and that's when they discussed, what was more beneficial for the gas line and how we were gonna kind of reach that. So now the gas line is going to be moved, but other than that, everything is moving forward. We seem to be hitting bumps, but then we go over the bumps, and we just kind of keep on moving from that. So,
The only downfall is New Mexico Gas Company says they're extremely busy, and it could be up to 30 days before they move that gas line. So in the interim, the contractor and the engineers are both on board with making a few changes to the ramp, the temporary ramp for deliveries at Taos Bakes. They are going to proceed cutting out the new temporary overhead door. So they're scheduled to start that construction on August 18th. So you should see some boots on the ground there. They're going to cut the existing wall, put in a new overhead door, and then that's where they'll put the new temporary ramp that's going to come out. They had to shorten the ramp by about 5 feet, so that they could accommodate this line being moved and then the new culvert and all that sort of thing. But like I said, the contractor and engineers are both on board with those changes, so that sort of thing should be progressing and moving forward. So it's taken a while. We had a little snafu, but it's moving forward.
That's the important thing. We're
Yes.
moving forward. Thank you.
And the contractor he knows that time is of the essence in order to get that slab poured before the cold weather sets in. So he's really adamant about making that happen.
next is the fire department building. We have reached out to Facility Build to head over to the fire department building and see what renovations need to be made. Upon looking at the building, they had some concerns. So we had a hazardous material assessment, and that happened today actually. So Jake went over there to meet them, so they collected what they had to do, and hopefully they can get that assessment to us. And then Facility Build was down last Wednesday to kind of look over the building and see what needs to be done, and renovations that need to happen. So hopefully we can get that building up to par and in shape for our firefighters to use. I have been working with the War Foundation to be able to get some heaters that I know Raynell has come up to you guys and told you that she's in dire need of. The heaters help keep the fire trucks warm so the water doesn't freeze up. And so I've been working with, we've been working with the War Foundation to get those funded. And we finally, after a few months, received some quotes to be able to move the process along a little bit better.
Councilman, well, we're looking at the whole fire department building. We all remember we got congressional direct spending 2 years ago $1 million for a new fire department building. Number one, $1 million isn't going to be enough. Number two, in our meetings with USDA over the last 2 years, Valerie did a lot of work. Whenever they asked of her, and every time she asked, I said, we need more, we need more. We're at the point where they're asking us for an environmental report. Where this new fire department building was supposed to go was over at the business park to be an environmental report. Within the last 5 or 6 years, they want one done every 2 years, which is going to cost us $50,000 or $60,000. So the last time we met with USDA, or we met with them one time after that, but what we discussed was maybe using this $1 billion to this old fire station. It will make it accessible a lot sooner. We want to do the environmental report, we'll start doing an architectural report. And we can remodel this new fire station, maybe apply for a state grant to help us with that. And the other way, that money is not going to become accessible until we find the other $5 million to build a new fire station. Until we have an environmental report done. My question to the USDA was, when I was at the Forest Service a couple of months ago, I asked them I was asking about Calesto Road and for the road cars to make actually nice and low. Did you guys have any environmental report on that, get that redone? It's, well, ours are good for 10 years, so when I met the USDA, I said, well, Forest Service is a division of USDA, how come your rules for your own stuff, you're good to go 10 years, but us as a small community, we have to have an environmental report done every 2 years. And after that, they will ask, Senator Lujan's office has been involved with a lot of this, and we can ask them to do away with it. Or we could just try and put $1 million into that station and try and get that revitalized. That's one of the things that we're looking at, and that's why our facility bill went to look at that building, and that will give us that $1 million pretty much right away. And I think, in my opinion, we council for a vote on this, but I think that's the better way to go with that $1 million right now.
On a positive note, through drone technology, the roof on the existing firehouse looks okay. So that's a good $30,000 savings right there. On the flip side, the reason that we had to have a hazardous material assessment is because there's a possibility that there might be some asbestos in that building on some of the floor tiles and the mastic glue that they used to put it on there. So that's why Kears Environmental was there today to do their inspections, and then we should have a report from them in the next 14 days. So if there is lead paint or asbestos or anything like that, then we'll have to look at remediation and abatement for those hazardous materials before the contractors or anyone can go in there and start making the renovations. So that's kind of where we're at there. But structurally, that building needs a lot of help, especially on the outside.
Next, real quick, is the skate park. We finally got the NLO back from the DFA after months. So I submitted the contract to them, so they will be starting the plan and design for the skate park. We were awarded $40,000. The skate park plan and design was not $40,000, so we'll have a little bit left over. The grant expires in June 30th of 2027. So we just need to figure out what the next step to get some funding to move forward with this. So the plan and design should be done within the next 30 days.
Just a brief recap on La Cienega. Aging and Long-Term Services Department, that $700,000 that we were rewarded for demolition and infrastructure replacement. I am currently working on the scope of work. It's due to them on the 30th of this month. Once that scope of work is approved by them, then they will issue the grant. They'll execute the grant, and then we can look at procuring a company to do the demolition and abatement on those two buildings.
Estimated date, probably early spring to start on that project?
I'm hoping we could get demolition going this year,
Oh, good.
maybe before winter sets in. I don't know if that's possible or not.
That'd be great.
I don't know what their schedule's like, but if not, it's an early spring project.
Thank you.
Is that a project that they can complete in the winter?
The demolition, that's the discussion I'll need to have with that company. I would imagine they probably could, as long as there's not snow on the ground.
Yeah, I would imagine that one would be, I would imagine it should be.
My only concern is that because of the asbestos and lead paint component, just to do the abatement and remediation on those two things might take longer than we think.
Next on the list is the Questa playground. We finally have received all of the playground parts. They're actually housed back in John's shop and he wants them out. So I am working with the company that installs the playground together. We need to send another NLO to the DFA, wait till they send it back, and we're hoping to get this playground put in before fall, or around fall, but definitely before winter.
I think that takes care of all of our projects. Are there any projects or any concerns you have that we can address right now?
I was gonna ask you to update them on the, two or three projects. So one of them was the fencing at the business park.
That one is moving along forward. We did get a quote, last year, actually. We have looked at signage and fencing. We ran into a little bit of a permit issue and, we had to kind of halt that. So we're currently moving forward. We have a scope of work. I actually have a meeting on Thursday to, ensure that all of our documents are good to go. But we have our fencing companies ready to contract, our scope of work, and hopefully we can get this ball rolling.
What about the library parking lot?
So we contacted or have procured facility build through CES to come up with a plan and design for the library improvements. The priority list, because of the funding that we have, the priority list is basically the roof repair on the old existing building, not the new part, but the older building. The roof was the #1 priority, then windows and doors, and then stucco. And so and facility build has already gotten roofing contractors there, carpeting contractors, painting contractors, all that sort of thing. So we're waiting for their proposal, and it's one of those kind of projects where we're going to start with the roof first, then do the windows and doors replacements, then do the stucco, and then we'll see where we're at as far as the money goes and all that. So, but those are the priorities, and then carpet was after the stucco.
And we have had this conversation with Sharon. We have been involving her in all of this. We just didn't decide it here and then. We did sit down with her and ask her what her priorities are. She does understand that the parking lot is not happening right now. And so she's been really good about working with us, which is why we were able to get facility build out there to look at the library, to get this money flowing.
We also have some congressional action from Senator that's already been approved that will be already put into that as well.
The library?
That was last year's.
We do not have the executed agreement, but it has been allocated to us, like the mayor stated, and so that is a pot of funds that we can look at paving the area as needed.
But we do have a specific state register page to the parking lot, right?
But
Thought we did like $80,000 that has to go to the parking lot itself.
I'm pretty sure the language in the grant agreement isn't just specifically for pave, it's for improvements.
pave was in the language though.
Pave is in the language, but it's not exclusively for pave. And the proposal we received for the pave and the parking lot improvements was way over $300,000. So we're going to have to, through procurement, get new proposals and maybe downscale that a little bit.
Which we have already downscaled. We had to take off a couple things off that proposal, and it shaved off a good, $75,000, and it was still over $300,000. So we have been trying to figure out how, but we want more than just pouring pave on there. We're trying to get something a little bit nicer.
That's good. And I know this is not part of the building, but a meeting or two ago, I did ask about the building that was supposed to be the daycare. Do you have an update on that?
So that was supposed to be an Inspired Daycare Center. That has fallen through the cracks. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So those buildings are going to go in the next public surplus auction that I'm going to have, and there'll be a public auction. And then whoever the winning bidder will remove them from that property, and then our public works will go in and recover all the trenches, take down the temporary construction fence, and it'll be like it was never there.
Do you have an idea when you're going to have your next auction?
I am hoping to have that auction by the end of September.
Awesome.
So then they'll be out of there by October.
That would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
And that's also the modulars that are at La Cienega.
Oh, good.
Those are going to go in as well.
So we are working with the USD on that. Commercial they're spending on the library. We also have $350,000 for this building. That they're not leasing right now, so
Right.
once we can get those released, we'll be in good shape on both those vehicles.
They're doing everything to prepare for when the money is released, we can get to work.
With USD, it's, we need this and this for me,
I know,
we give
I
them
know.
that, and then they come back and say, no, we need this.
Thank you.
And then at the end of it,
Then it's down.
they're asking for stuff that environmental report, but
Yeah.
I don't understand what they're asking.
I would like to just mention something. I know we just went through a lot of projects and a lot of stuff is in plan and design, and I know that you guys seem to get more questions than we do here in the office. And I know that sometimes you feel like, Counselor Jason would say, well, I don't know, I'll find out for you. Something I just want to reiterate, I know it doesn't seem like much is going around, but there's a lot happening.
Oh, definitely.
We have like, how many pages is this? 10 pages of projects. We have 5 roads under plan and design right now. We have a playground going. We have renovations to the sewer. So please, if you guys ever get any constituents who are upset or irate and you guys don't know, we are all more than happy to answer questions. Because the last thing I personally would like to say, we don't want people spreading misinformation about any of the projects or, saying, oh, well, what's happening here? Nothing's ever happening. When we really are trying to kind of fix the things that we hear. Jake and I quickly learned that you can't just ask for money right off the bat. We very quickly learned that you have to have, as annoying as a PER is, it's actually a very helpful document to be able to have successful projects. A perfect example is Shirley Drive. We had $80,000 for construction only, and no plan and design and no funding for plan and design. So unfortunately, we had to sit on that money for a little while until we could get funding. And so things are moving. So if you guys ever have an angry constituent, like I said, please send them over. We are like glass jars here. We would love to share this knowledge with everybody. As you guys know, a lot of people don't come to the meetings and they don't get to hear these things. But we're trying our best to make the community better, and by applying for grants and getting these roads done, and all plan and design doesn't seem like a big thing. It actually turns out to be a great project, and that's how we kind of move forward with making our constituents happy.
We are very, very proud of the job that you guys do here. So, I for one will defend you guys no matter what. People are complaining about something, I ran away, let them know that what's going on. But at the same time, I can't remember who I was having a conversation with last week, and they're like, I didn't realize, I thought public works all they did was ride up and down and cruise back and forth, and that's all they did. But after they saw some of the projects that they were doing, or the sewer, and they had to go at the end of the day and unplug, or the water lines that they're replacing, they're like, I didn't realize that there was that much that they're doing.
Yeah, Jake and I are very proud to say that together we have pulled in over $6.5 million into the village since we started working here. And all of that money is going back into our community and our constituents. And we're very proud to share all of these projects. Tough days took forever, and I will be happy the day that we get to close that project out. So we're working hard.
Yeah, so if you make a little mistake on your minutes, it's nothing compared to all the work that you're doing with all the grants and all of the, the teamwork that you have going on there, and so I give you a very big pat on the back, all of you.
Any other questions?
Obviously, you guys.
Oh, the fence at the high school.
Oh, yeah. So that is actually moving along really well also. We're actually combining it with the business park fence, so we don't have to hire 2 fencing people. It just makes sense to say, hey, we have these 2 projects. Are you interested in taking them? As soon as we got the contract back from the school, we had some fencing Jake went ahead and put a scope of work together, and on Thursday's meeting, we will finalize that and send it off to the fencing companies, and cross your fingers that they come in with a good bid and we're able to move forward. We do want to have the fencing project over priority out of both of them. We would like to have the school done first before the business park. We would like to have it done before.
Thank you.
And the immediate step there is to procure a survey. Survey that, because nothing can happen until we get that survey.
There's more to, they have, I did ask them to come before you tonight and discuss the project, because I'm sure you're getting questions on what's going on with this project or that project, and they're moving along. So we just need to, I'm gonna ask that we come back at least 3 months with project updates for you, with update you as a council, see what's going on.
Thank you.
Next item is matters for the administrator.
We're on item 10. The Department of Finance, City Park.
I'm sorry.
It's us again. Mayor and Council, there's a unique opportunity that's come up through Senate Bill 275 and through the Department of Finance Administration. There is $7.5 million up for grabs for city park improvements. So I thought this evening I would just tell you that this is the perfect opportunity to seek plan and design money for Molly Court Field. Because it is one of our city parks. It has a definite need there. We don't have any funding for plan and design right now. So as part of this public engagement conversation, I thought that that would be our recommendation as a staff, that we follow or go through with this grant application. It's the submission deadline is August 30th, so we're only a couple weeks away. If we're fortunate to receive any money, we have until June of 2028 to extend it, so we have some time. So right now I'm in the process of speaking with someone who I'm hoping is part of a cooperative agreement, because I can't share a whole lot of info with this person, but I kind of like the plan and design that they already came up with, aside from a few modifications perhaps, like a pickleball court or something like that. But I have to know, and I'm working with Valerie, who's our chief procurement officer, what I can say, what I can't say, what we can share, what we can't share, so that I don't break any procurement rules. So, but we do have to have an engineer's proposal to submit with this application, or it's not going to move forward at all. So therein lies the problem.
And in order to seek future funding for Molly Court Field, again, it starts with step 1, which is sometimes annoying, but we need to get plan and design done to be able to seek future funding for Molly Court Field.
And part of the criteria for this funding is, one, it needs to increase the recreational opportunity for residents of all ages and abilities, which Molly Court Field would do. It needs to be able to revitalize and modernize existing park facilities, which Molly Court Field applies. It needs to address safety concerns within city parks. That also applies. And foster community engagement in a sense of place. All those things apply for Molly Court Field, so we hit all the points. So there's no reason why we shouldn't move forward with this DFA application to see if we can get plan and design done for Molly Court Field, and then it'll be a shovel-ready project, and we'll just have to look for construction.
The best part that Jay found out is that there's no match.
No match. That's a good point. So anyway, with your blessing, we will approve or proceed with applying for a grant from Molly Court Field. Any questions?
Covered it all.
All right, thank you.
next item is management.
Mayor and council, we did receive executed grant agreements. So that means we can start spending this money. $75,000 for plan, design, construct, and equip, and the animal control program. So we will begin having meetings with the chief of police and others that, how we're gonna use that money. $65,000 to purchase equipment for the Veterans Memorial Field. So, Councilwoman Gallegos already has an idea what she wants to do there. So we'll be having meetings with her about that. $200,000 to purchase and equip an ambulance. So, 200,000 to purchase and equip an ambulance. That's not enough to buy an ambulance, but we will get a refurbished one. They put a new truck on a chassis and paint it and equip it. We have $60,044.60 as an extension to for plan, design, and construction, renovate, furnish, and equip improvements at the public library and parking area. That's that $80,000. Okay. $175,000 extension to purchase and equip vehicles, and that is the jack truck that's on order. So I'm asking Ms. Vito to follow up on that and find out what the delivery date is. So those are the 5 grants. We still have one grant that they missed that we got funded. That is the surplus for $230,000. So I said, hey, where's my money here? So they found it. They said, we forgot to type it up. We're typing it up. And they'll get it to us. So we'll be bringing that to you for approval for the funds. Our fiscal year 2024 quarterly report for 4th quarter was approved by DFA today. So I'm so excited.
Good job.
Next is our budget. We're doing the minimum household income survey. You know, that we're going to do that. We had a meeting about it the other day. The 2020 census, our minimum household income was too high and we couldn't get a PPG grant. So now we have to do this survey process to survey the people in the community and try and get that down to what we think it should be. So the introductory letter will go out around August 21st. Explain it. We did have a meeting and a few people showed up. And we explained to them what we're trying to do and why. The first survey letter will go out a week later on August 28th. And then they'll get responses. They have 20 days to respond. And then as those that don't respond, they'll send out a second survey letter on September 25th.
Just a correction I found out for you. The second survey letter will go out if we don't meet the
13%.
and it will go out to everybody.
So if we don't need 13% response, then the second letter will go out to everybody. And for the 152 multi-units, that would be apartments, RV parks where people are living, we'll deliver those in person.
With RCAC representative also.
With the representative. So they're planning all those documents, they will come and bring them in. I think Jake and Amy will go out with them, deliver those. So hopefully we'll meet our 13%, the first time. The audit for fiscal year 2024 has begun. I'm going to be handing out the paperwork to our staff tomorrow, although Ms. State has already started scanning documents, but the list is a whole page long and they have promised more to come for scanning. It will be a virtual audit, so they will not be coming over here. We did it like last year, we'll send them all the documents and they'll do the audit. I included on your desk a grants report. In fiscal year 2024, $7.9 million in grants that we have going on. We 4 of the grants, I left the back truck on the top, we just finished that one. But we still have $7.3 million in old money that we're carrying over to this year. And that doesn't include these other grants that I mentioned earlier. So I will update this list for you with the new grants for this fiscal year. We did have an E911 Finance Committee meeting this week. We haven't met for quite some time. That's the JPA that we have with different organizations in the Cabinet Circle for the E911. So I'm glad we're back in business having meetings again. And the last thing I have is that Mr. Alfred applied for an DOT hardship sale. They have equipment and vehicles that they're getting rid of, and we qualified for $25,000. Mr. Alfred and Mr. John Rayal went over there on Monday, and they brought a truck. However, it had to be towed from Espanola.
But it's not a serious problem. That's what we're looking for.
And it had some kind of a death slip indicator thing, and it was shut off, and you could only be able to drive 4 miles an hour the rest of the way. And I said, John, call a tow truck. And then he says, you call a tow truck. So I asked Ms. Miguel to call a tow truck, and they brought it. They're in the shop right now.
What kind of truck?
It's a Chevy 2500 extended cab, 2012.
Is that for public works?
Diesel, yes, for public works.
Oh, I do want to add that the money was given to the village to spend on this truck, so we did not have to pay for it.
Oh, the towing, we didn't have to pay for
The towing, yes, but the purchase of the actual truck, Jacob paid for a hardship money.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the 25,000, and we pay 25,000, but we're allowed up to 25.
oh, okay.
So
If
it
the
was quite an
repair
experience.
is outrageous, then we'll just put it in the auction. We'll disclose what we know about it, and we'll recoup our total.
Okay, very good.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. Excellent job, thank you for all you do.
We have great staff.
Yes, you do.
Next item is matters from mayor and council members. Angela, the first one. I think some of the stuff I'm gonna address, which is a lot, might answer some of the questions that you all might have. So we did have, I'm just going off my list here, but myself, Fred, met with Chris Ortiz from District 5, New Mexico DOT. We met with him last Thursday. We talked about some of the issues that we have here in Questa, maybe not issues. Some of the things that we're asking for. Number one was the speed lights, the flashing lights that warn people when they're going too fast. His recommendation to us was that we shouldn't buy. They would install them for us, but then we'd have to take over the maintenance of them after they install them. Which I think we might, I still think it's a doable thing, but they were kind of not wanting us to do it, but yeah, they would pay for it, but they're trying to discourage us from doing it. I think he even said that usually discourage municipalities from doing it. We talked about crosswalks, because there's no crosswalks in town right now. We need crosswalks, so he's gonna work on that. We talked about the signs along Highway 592, that there's too many signs. Or there's repeated signs near the intersection of that, because we brought it counselor. So he was gonna look at that also. And then we talked about, what was the other one? Oh, about the streetlights and doing, maybe getting a grant for more streetlights or to repair that. Overall, it was a pretty positive meeting. We do need to let them know that if we want those flashing lights, they'll come and install them. Said probably take a couple of months because they're pretty busy, but we do just, if we decide we want them, we need to know that we're gonna have to maintain them in the future. If the lights go out, or if there's electrical problems, we're gonna have to be the ones that will have to fix those. It's just the same thing as our street lights too, we have to maintain those. I think it's probably worth doing still. I don't know that we need to come to council for a vote on that, but, we may come next meeting for that. It was a pretty good meeting, very look at the crosswalks and stuff, look at the buttons on the lights,
If you notice, we do have
you do that, so they'll program all that stuff. Daycare, you might have heard about daycare. So the daycare, or Taylor shut the daycare down at the church where it was existing. We have been meeting with Taylor, we're trying to look for another location for the daycare. We have not been able to find one. She looked at the youth center, she liked the youth center. The problem with the youth center is that we have groups that are already rented the youth center. We would have to space those groups, and I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I was gonna have them put that on the agenda council for you to vote on, but I just don't even feel comfortable with them, with us leasing up that building to a full-time occupant. We kind of be taking a lot of the use of that away from the youth, and I don't think that was a proper facility for that. But we are working with Taylor, we're still looking for another location for them. If you know of any locations, if anyone knows of any open buildings that she might be able to lease to put the daycare center in, let us know so we can forward that to her or let her know.
One quick suggestion, maybe there, I don't know how Sarah's gonna react to that, but their BMW, it's like kind of renovated pretty good, and it might need some cash.
Maybe a suggestion. I always thought too about the old Central School too, they use that for stuff too. It wouldn't be very custom, it would be local.
Right.
So if you hear any good thing about the daycare, that's what's going on there, I'm sure you've heard, because I've been hearing about that. We've bent over backwards trying to help inspire daycare come to Questa, and now it seems like they're going to try to fault us for not allowing them to do the daycare. That's not into the youth center. That's not. We've tried enforcing what we did with that building, and we all took heat for that building being there, and now it's going to be auctioned. We're still trying. We had a meeting last Thursday with most of the residents that live along North Clyde. They still have, we still own slivers along their property. Overall, it went pretty good. I don't know how many of them have reached back out to you, but what we landed up is if they're willing to pay for the survey to be done on that property, then we can figure out what a fair market value is on that, those little slivers, and they can purchase those properties from the village at whatever fair market value is. We're talking about some of these people have 2 feet by 50 feet of a sliver that's blocking them. It's not really blocking them. It's just property that has no value to the village of West. Absolutely no value to us. Doesn't make any sense for us to retain it. Makes sense for us to get it into our hands. I know at least as of that night, 2 residents said that they wanted to get it done. They were looking for the survey. I don't know if you've heard back from any of the other residents yet, but I asked them to let us know within the next 2 weeks if they're willing to do that. If not, we'll move forward with the ones that are willing to do that. Again, because of anti-donation, we can't give them that property. They have to pay us a fair market value or trade us what would be worth a fair market value. Maybe community service or something else that we can count for. The other thing I did discuss with Chris on that is the $800 we can work out maybe a payment plan for them, that way they don't have to pay $800 up front. And we can pay for the survey.
Mayor, there will be a recap of that public discussion in the Questa Del Rio September edition. So you all might get questions from them.
And there is the problem that happened there is that we had, and some people would say, well, why would I even need this for a 50 by 2 foot property? suggestion to them was that it should get put into the name because, you know, my administration would never do this, but another administration could go and sell that property out from underneath it. And then they could be blocked from access to their property or either, because we've already had that situation kind of happening before, and that's, we just want to get this taken care of. It's been going on since 1997, this ordeal. So we want to get it fixed before a new mayor comes with a new council maybe. The police department, they're working, they've changed their schedule a little bit to be out and do some traffic enforcement in the morning during the schools or whatever. I think Ms. Shannon, what was it, the police department issued 194 citations in the month of July.
How many?
194 citations in the month of July. And they responded to 192 calls.
192 calls and 4 DUI arrests.
So they've been pretty busy. Chief, we do have one open position there, and chief is feeling pretty optimistic that it'll be filled by a certified officer by the end of the month.
Oh, good.
So that will help us a little bit. I'm planning a business forum with all our businesses in town, with the village and the businesses. I'm trying to bring them in. I want to get their input on some of our projects, some of the stuff coming up tonight, and how this is going to affect them. Plus some of the other projects that we're looking at doing in the future. I just want to get them a little bit more engaged. I know we're going to hear from some of them that our water rates are too high. But I think it's important that we engage our business owners and when we celebrate them, that we'll welcome all of you to come and attend to the meeting. Like I said, there's a few things that I want to put on the agenda, so we'll do that. I think I addressed everything I wanted to address. I was in Washington D.C. for the last meeting. We're looking for funding for the green hydrogen production. That's what I was doing there. I apologize for this. We had meetings with our congressional delegation, NBC, as well as USDA. Other than that, any questions?
As for clarification on the Questa Business Bridge grand opening, it's saying that the opening will be from 3 to 6, but the ribbon cutting is at 5.
I think she
I
has,
thought the ribbon cutting would be at 3 o'clock.
I think she has a plan for music and other events.
She has several tables of people that help with the bridge, and they're gonna have information there for people to go ask to get people's,
So we don't need to be there till 5.
no, you don't, she asked that mayor and council be there about 1:45 to
Yeah.
mingle.
No, because
and-
I was,
and-
when I saw the 3
participate.
o'clock, I was gonna take off from work early so that I could be there
Yeah.
and support the project, but, no, if I don't have to get off early, then I'll be there.
Right, she put the grand opening ceremony at 5:15 so that all of you or other people that are working can come and be there for that. And she'll have informational booths and different things happening earlier in the afternoon.
Okay, so the 3 to 6 is just informational,
Yes,
okay, thank you.
I think she has 6 or 7 booths for people to ask, you know, this is how you can, we can help you start your business, or this is how we can help you write your grant, or different, whatever it is that she's doing,
Okay,
with the business bridge. She's gonna have those representatives there to give information.
thank you.
Any matters from council?
No matter here.
I have, something that we have to think about as individuals in Questa. One thing that we value is our ability to see our vistas, and right now we have an invasive species that is just tearing up the town. Like big time. You go through Calresco, and it looks like you're in a tunnel. Okay, you go through Cairo Road, Now, that's the state is in charge of that, no? Yeah. North Carolina does. So that's gonna look like the middle of town right now where, that damn Siberian elm, aka Chinese elm, has totally, taken over our roadways. And, a lot of the neighbors within the center of town, they don't have the ability to see the nice Red River Canyon that sits right in front of them. Even the, what you call it, where the mountain, the silhouette of the mountain, you can't see it anymore because that damn tree has just done damage to our town. 2 weeks ago, I had to get permission from Miss Shannon to go cut a tree in front of somebody's house because they wanted to see to the Red River Canyon. And granted, it was a little Siberian elm at the time, but it's been coming back and forth, going back and forth year after year. Line of sight on some of our roads down there in Bonneville Road. I think there's an issue with some trees there. How are we gonna tackle this problem? I don't know, but we need to start to talk and think about what this tree is doing for the community. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to eradicate it. I'm definitely trying to control it. I've got so many that one of my properties is full of them. That wasn't the intention of that property. So that's what's been on my mind for a while, this summer actually. And that's kind of like what's going on with my project with Hacienda Park, if we're going to call it that. And I was hoping that maybe more residents would follow suit and say, oh, there's a tree right there on the side of the road. It's not so big right now. Let's take care of it. No, yeah, we haven't seen much of that. Yeah.
We could pass some police saying that Chinese homes are illegal to require homeowner or property owners to remove them. The problem with that is that how do we enforce that?
I know.
It screws up the opposite too.
Oh, yeah, it is a major problem. I will let you guys know that, or you all council to know that I did get a text message today from a constituent on Mountain View Road, thanking our crews for going out and cutting the trees along the road there. So I know the crews are working on that, or the crew is working on that, at least in that area. So I'm guessing that they'll be getting to the residents, at least what we can do with around recently. It has helped having that fifth person on the crew.
Mayor and council, Mr. John Ayala and I were discussing this very issue this afternoon. I said, how do we get rid of those? I said, the mayor and I walked over to the police department earlier in the week or last week, and the trees are growing in between the buildings. They're all over the place. And so we talked about it. He thinks that there might be something that we can get from Tractor Supply that he can put on them. You have to cut it and then drill it and then put the stuff in there, and then it kills the roots. It's like a root killer or something like that. So we talked about it. We're going to try some different things, see what works. We're going to try right here in this area first before we go out to other places, make sure it's good and safe. But we did talk about it today. He hates them as much as you do, Councilor. And so we're going to try something. If you have ideas, please let us know. He's willing to try different things. He's got his idea, and I said, let's try it. See what we can come up with. I know that when we moved the Connex box from back here, I couldn't even open the door to the Connex box to get my boxes out. So they had to cut the tree down so we could open the door. So they just pop up everywhere, and they're popping up right next to the buildings.
Yes.
So we need to get rid of them.
It's going to be an issue when we try to regulate that hacienda, school property too, because, 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe, the village had hired a contractor to go cut them down and then go back in. So we need to find a way to eradicate them, and not just cut them down, because they're just gonna go back in.
Mayor, one last thing, Council Gonzalez did mention the Cerro VFW and they probably need when to finish renovating. Well, they do have a raffle going on, so if anybody's interested in purchasing a ticket, they're $10 a chance. And the first prize is a cow elephant at the RCCLA. And then you have 2 cash prizes of $100, and you have certificates to 101 Bar and Grill and Duran's Gas and Grocery, a cord of wood, and handmade birdhouse and other prizes. So if anyone's interested in selling tickets, okay?
Nice.
Thank you.
Next meeting is August 27th, it's PM. There's a lot of available bidding out there right now, if any of you are interested, National League of Cities actually putting out a lot of events too, where it's all scholarships. Our own schools, Vallejo has a emergency preparedness and food students. National League of Cities sent me something today for something on Extreme 8, Extreme is on 8, Vancouver Bridge, the one we also have a gas scholarship. Any of you interested in any of that? I can't tell you either of those. There's no other questions. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'll adjourn at 8:05.
Awesome.
Did I hear you right? The police chief position's open?
No.
No, police officer.
Police officer, okay. Sorry. I left him on time.
It says, might have a certified officer by the